The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education could be hauled into court to desegregate public schools. The last time something like that happened in Massachusetts was 1974, and the emotional damage still hasn't completely healed. A recent report from a DESE advisory council says more than half the state's schools are segregated, and the report's authors told me they're tired of waiting for education leaders to do something about it.
We've got people doing all the right things.
Class is in session. BU lecturer Raul Fernandez is teaching principals about segregated schools in Massachusetts.
This is the second
and it's
time
not a history lesson.
I would love to see ed leaders, including the governor as an education leader, step up and say this is a real problem.
An astonishing 63% of the school's 1,800 public schools are segregated, according to state data. That's more than 500,000 students. Fernandez published a report as head of the Racial Imbalance Advisory Council, which concluded the burden of school segregation falls on Black and Latino students hardest, and the council believes that's unlawful. Fernandez says DESE and the Healy administration are not upholding the law.
Do you think DESE should be sued to fix this problem?
Yes, absolutely. The report came out in June. They've not engaged in a meaningful way with the authors of that report, the council members. They still have an opportunity before someone files a lawsuit or before this goes to the courts to step up and at least say, we're going to own this.
The acting commissioner of education and Governor Healy's education secretary both declined to talk with us about the report. However, Secretary Patrick Tutwiler has previously voiced a commitment to, quote, high-quality education in inclusive learning environments.
Yes. It starts right here with the Racial Imbalance Act.
At Metco in Boston since 1966, the mission has been a more racially balanced education system. That history is recorded on the walls here. Currently, they bus 3,200 grade schoolers from Boston to 33 communities in the suburbs. And over the last 20 years, data show Metco kids consistently outperform the kids who don't get bused.
There are more districts that want to come on board, but the funding doesn't exist to just make it happen.
Right. And not only for new districts, but also existing towns say, I can take on more students.
In one of the 18 recommendations, the Segregated Schools report calls for a Metco funding increase, so suburban schools, often overwhelmingly white, can receive more students of color. Metco's CEO says they are ready.
We can definitely reach more students. Every year, we actually only place 1/3 of our applicants. So there's always 2/3 of the applicants that actually do not get referred or placed because our program is based on seat availability.
Metco estimates $6.4 million per year to increase its student enrollment 25%. They call the funding a drop in the bucket since the millionaire's tax brought in $2.2 billion in year one. And lawmakers require that revenue be spent on only education and transportation.
Which Metco checks both of those boxes.
103,000 Black and Latino students are attending a school described as intensely segregated non-white. These students, according to the report, receive a stunningly poor education compared to their white counterparts. In a max score of 99, segregated white schools score 66.3 on performance, while segregated non-white schools score 18.7. It's a 48-point gap.
It should not be the case that where we see high proportions of Latino and Black students that we see worse educational outcomes, but that is the case. Now, the question is who's responsible for that?
The law that prevents racial imbalance in schools is almost 60 years old. The council recommends the legislature update the law. The report also reveals a rarely used legal provision for parents. If your child attends a segregated school and you're not pleased with the school's performance, you have the right to demand a transfer to another school district. To read the relevant laws, the full report, and a further breakdown of the stats, go to NBC10boston.com.